Hi and welcome to this reading. Today's reading is part of a series of readings that I am doing that will be housed in a playlist called A Wheel Within a Wheel. They're pulling in the reference of the number 7, which if you've been with me for a little while, you would know has been coming through my readings, literally every reading. So part of my own spiritual journey is that I'm starting to collect pieces of the puzzle to connect the dots for a bigger puzzle that I'm trying to put together. Now this morning when I woke up, I walked past a little, and I'll show you, a little Ziploc bag that my mum gave me. She does craft for the church, and this is what stood out. 7 swans are swimming. And as soon as I saw it, and it's been sitting on the shelf in my bedroom for probably 3 months, but as soon as I saw it, I started getting all of these downloads. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. A bit about me first. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I pick up on messages prior to a reading. I will then come and use my tarot and oracle decks to further clarify that message. Now, I'm going to pull some cards on this 7 swans are swimming energy. All of the decks that I use on my channel are my own designs because I'm also an illustrator. So if you call to any of those, the links can be found in the description box. I use a number of tools to draw through the messages. Obviously, first, the initial messages that I receive. I will then do a bit of research into specifically what 7 swans are swimming actually means. I put my songs on a random shuffle, a tool that I use to align with channel messages that I'm receiving. So I'll give you the songs that I got for those, and then we'll pull some cards. But what I want to do first is tell you, I got the Tower card in my mind's eye, so something crumbling down, and I got the Sun. The Sun is Enlightenment. First, I want to pull just some cards. What have we got under here? Number 1, new beginning bestows wisdom. Now, that's meant to happen. That card was meant to come out. That's the Fool card. A new beginning. Enlightenment. A tower crashing down and a new beginning because you've had some sort of wisdom. Okay, let's get... Obstacles are lessons in disguise and divine intervention. That's my Divine Messages Oracle deck. And then just... Actually, you know what I might do? I might not use one from here in a while. I might just get a card for the energy. And my cards in my deck aren't normally upside down. The Queen of Pentacles. That's stagnant energy. That is, that's Uranus in Virgo, but it's in the reverse. So when I think of Uranus, Uranus is, what's the Fool card actually? Sun-shocking events. Think of, earthquakes, volcanoes. Sun-shocking events. And Virgo is the soul's journey, if you think of it in the major arcana. So this particular card, the Queen of Pentacles, is single, independent, free, able to build an independent life for herself, not gender specific. It's an energy. But in reverse, it's stuck. What have we got on the bottom? The Ace of Cups, and we've got the Wheel of Fortune. I'm actually going to pull those out. Something's changing. The Hierophant is so interesting. And the Ace of Cups, which is a spiritual journey. Spiritual journey after disappointment. Okay, now let me give you some information which I just got. See these 2 keys on the Hierophant card? They symbolize Listen to that bird. You're getting messages. They symbolize gates of enlightenment. The gates of the gods. The Hierophant card is, well, sometimes it's called the Pope card. It's Taurus and Venus. But if you look at the astrological wheel, the Silver Gate. Now, let me find it actually. Actually, I do have it here. Excuse me while I just find the card. The Gates of Enlightenment. It'll be right at the bottom. Apologies. It's the original Hierophant card, and I thought it was 2 different colours, but it's not. Five is change. 5 is change. But it represents Scorpio, which is death and rebirth. Scorpio is a symbol of death and rebirth. It's Pluto energy. It's the Wheel of Fortune. It's change. The gates of the gods is Scorpio, the Golden Gate, and the Gate of Man, which is Taurus, which is the Silver Gate, and that's on the Hierophant card. This is about spiritual enlightenment. 7 swans are swimming. Okay. Obstacles are lessons in disguise. Divine intervention, new beginnings, bestows wisdom. So essentially what's happening here is there's some wisdom coming through about a journey that you've been on. Whether you are one of 7 swans swimming or whether you are 7 swans just symbolises you. Now that's interesting actually, because let me go back. Some of these readings are just aligning with other stuff that's coming through. I've been doing some work on the Saturn transit in astrology. It's 84 years long. So if you divide your life up into 3 sections, from 0 to 28 years, which is when you go through your first Saturn return, from 28 years to 56 years, which is when you go through your second Saturn return, and a Saturn return is when Saturn returns back to the place it was in your chart at the time of your birth, and then 56 years to 84 years. But within that first 28 years, there's 4 lots of 7. 4 lots of 7, 4 lots of 7. And if that stuff interests you, within this playlist, there will be a video that I'm in the process of putting together talking about the significance of the number 7 and how it layers into everything that's happening in our life. 84 years. Now, you may not be that age. You could be 28, you could be 54, you could be somewhere in here, you could be somewhere in here. Obviously, under 18, you shouldn't be watching tarot readings, but that's where you are. Some sort of enlightenment is coming in, because if you think of a bird, and we've had lots of birds, if you think of a bird flies. Some sort of enlightenment that is allowing you to move. Now, 4 sevens. 4 sevens within each of those 3s. I'm just going to leave that there. So I want to get back to the original message. So when I was doing some research on 7 swans are swimming. Now, obviously, it's part of the song, The 12 Days of Christmas. 12 Days of Christmas, 84. The 12 Days of Christmas. Just, my math isn't great, but $84 divided by 12 is 7. 7 swans are swimming. This has to do with something, Saturn in your chart, the lessons that you are learning, the enlightenment that you are getting wherever you are on your journey. How interesting is that? Okay, so I'm going to give you the songs that I was getting. I got Changes. That's Black Sabbath. It's literally 5. It's about change, enlightenment, something that's happening. I got Mighty Queen, The Hollies. Now, I'm not familiar with that song. I just put my songs on random shuffle, and I have it on that little where you can put it on random, but if you hit it twice, it comes up with a little kind of a shuffle symbol with little stars through it, which means it pulls in other songs that aren't on your playlist, and I have it on that. For me, my guides align me with songs that are part of a message that I'm pulling through. So that song was originally written by Bob Dylan, and it aligns with a movie called The Savage Innocence. Now, I don't know anything about it. I'm just going to leave that there. Might be a message for somebody. I got Hello by Adele. So This Is Love. Now, that's from a Disney movie. I think that's from Snow White. That movie's just about to come out at the moment. Actually, I think it's just released at the moment. All my readings are timeless. There might be messages in that movie for you, and it may not necessarily be the movie that's at play at the moment. It may actually be because the imagery on that song that was coming through was from the original Disney movie. There might be messages in that for you. Snow White wakes up. Snow White. Let me just double check. And here's me thinking it was Snow White, and I was going to say, it aligns the 7 dwarves. But it's not. It's actually from Cinderella. The other song that I got, If You Don't Know Me By Now, by Simply Red. And then finally, and this was really, really interesting, it's called Closer to Fine, and it's by the Indigo Girls. Indigo is violet. Indigo. It's so funny, right? And this is what tapping in does. Indigo, deep, rich, purple, bluish colour, which aligns because if I go back, I'm going to read you. This is going to be one of those readings where I jump from one place to another because I'm getting messages as I'm doing the reading. I'm thinking it's going one way and Spirit is actually pulling me somewhere else. And you'll have to excuse my belly because I'm actually fasting. Indigo is violet. And if you're on a spiritual journey and you're trying to collect pieces of a puzzle as part of your spiritual journey, then just go with the flow. I've been collecting pieces of the puzzle of this 7, the number 7, the number 77, the number 777, and 4 7s. It's all been coming through thick and fast. And as I said, I'm putting together this playlist and I'm trying to put it together in bite-sized chunks. But what's happening is things are kind of meshing from one to the other. So last night, in the middle of the night, I woke up and I couldn't sleep. And so I just started Googling. And you can see what I was doing because I've been seeing the number 711, which is 7 times 11, which is 77. The number 7, 777. I was pulling in the colour purple. There might be something in that movie. The colour purple. Purple is the symbol of penance, preparation and sacrifice, Lent, which is what we're coming into, probably why I'm getting these messages. But 4 7s, which is that first, what did I say before? 84 divided by 12 is 7. The 4 7s. In Gematria, which is a tool that I use, a biblical tool that I use, when numbers align with words, you can get an alphanumeric value for a word. The colour purple is 425, which is 2 and 5 is 7. 4 7s, and it aligns with the words Neuralink, Master Healer, Father and Son, Sands of Time, Genesis 18, there might be something in that scripture, and Easter time. And this is something else I use. Let me show you. 711, which is 2 sevens. This is called Strong's Concordance. It's all kind of playing through. If you pop in the number 711, which is 2 sevens, because 7 times 11 is 77, it comes up with this word, Aramaic, corresponding to 710, which is the color purple. There's something in that movie. Okay, that message is for somebody. Let's get back to 7 Swans Are Swimming. So the song that I got, the main song of this reading, is by the Indigo Girls. The Indigo Girls, that's purple. The Indigo Girls. Closer to Fine. The lyrics, I'm trying to tell you something about my life. Maybe give me insight between black and white. And the best thing you've ever done for me is to help me take my life less seriously. It's only life after all. I went through the darkness. Well, the darkness has a hunger that's insatiable, and the lightness has a call that's hard to hear. And I wrap my fear around me like a blanket, and I sail my ship until I sank it. That's interesting, actually, because I did a reading the other day which was about the lighthouse, somebody being the lighthouse, pulling in a ship to the shore before it hit the rocks. I'll list those songs in the description box, but that's interesting. I've never pulled through that before. That 7/7, that purple, the Indigo Girls, and the fact that it's Lent. It's about a sacrifice. Because in the Catholic Church, purple symbolizes the period leading up to Easter. When you think about Easter, it's a death and rebirth. So when I looked at swans, swans mean wisdom. In Scotland, 7 swans are good luck for 7 years. Swans align with the Greek god Apollo, who is the god of music. In the 15th century, swans were status symbols exchanged between noblemen, and they were cooked as a feast at Christmas. I think one thing I read was this: in 1251, Henry III ordered 125 swans for dinner for the Christmas feast. Now, swans were a symbol of people who had money, and basically you had to mark your swan, meaning you had to brand it. But obviously back then tools were more primitive, so they had a special kind of stamp that they ground into the underside of the swan's bill. It was called a swan mark. It was owned by the government, and you had to pay to use it, essentially, which meant only rich people could use it, marking these 7 swans. Napoleon and Josephine. Now, lots of 7/7 references within that story. There is a Napoleon and Josephine reading on my playlist, my Pluto and Aquarius playlist. They had a pair of black swans. Josephine had decided that she wanted black swans, which are native to Australia. And so she sent an expedition off basically to get these swans, these black swans, and bring them back to France. Now, the story of the Australian black swan, it's black and it's got a red beak because it was bullied. So that might be some sort of significance in whatever energy I'm picking up on here. They basically pulled all, it's a Dreamtime story, Indigenous Australian story. They basically pulled all its feathers out. They were jealous of it. They pulled all of its feathers out. And the red that you see on the black swan of Australia's beak is a symbol of the blood. Just her tarred and feathered. Swan song. The swan sings better when it's nearing death. Aristotle and Socrates. The end, an ending and a beginning. The other thing biblically that the swan represents is the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit. The swan the seven swans are singing appears on the seventh day of that song. Now that song is a lead into Christmas, which celebrates a birth. The gifts are prophecy, service, teaching, encouraging, giving, leadership, and compassion. It aligns with Romans 12, 6:8. Now that 6:8 came through in a song. It came through in the song Jeff Buckley's Hallelujah, which is a reading, 2 readings I've done on that actually. And a quote that says, when you walk with God, the gifts of the Spirit move like a swan on the water. So some sort of spiritual awakening that's happening here. But I'm also pulling in the energy of the fact that, you know, Henry III, in that kind of whole big section of history, they were prisoners, they were captive. 7 swans are singing. Now, swans also represent universal love. There's another lyric in that song. I went to see a doctor of philosophy, but the less I seek my soul, the closer I am to find. Interesting. Okay, let's pull some cards. This is about a soul awakening. The gates, yeah, look at that, that's the end. 10's are the end. So that is the 10 of Wands, which is Saturn, the lessons that you learn, Saturn in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is like almost a phoenix rising from the ashes, a fiery new beginning. That's what's happening in the energy around you at the moment. Something astrologically, and it has to do with Saturn, and it has to do with Jupiter, 777, and it has to do these 7 references that are coming through. The number 7, 2 7s, 777, 4 7. Even if we look at, and again, it comes through in all of my readings, even if you look at the biblical story of Jacob. Now, Jacob had a wrestle with God. At 77, he had coveted what was his brother's. He had a dream at 77, which was talking about a stairway to heaven. What did we say before? The gate of the gods and the gate of man. Taurus and Scorpio. There might be something about Taurus season, which is the 5th month. Scorpio season is November. Taurus and Scorpio. Scorpio, the golden gate. And the gate of man is the silver gate. Now, he had a dream about the stairway to heaven. At the age of 77. That story of Jacob is actually about his journey from ego to spiritual alignment. 10 of Wands, the first 77 years, metaphorically. And then that last 7 years, when he had that, you know, I said I saw the Tower card, and then I had the Sun card, which is Enlightenment. Once he had that enlightenment, that last 7 years put him on the journey to 84 years. Now, the story of Jacob and Rachel is that at 77, he met Rachel, was tricked because he still had lessons to learn, and then was able to marry her at 84. Interesting, the 10 of Wands. 7 swans are swimming. There's lots of ego in here. You know, ordered 125 swans for dinner. What's happening in the 3D? Seven. 6. The Devil. Capricorn energy, and that is the Sun in Scorpio. What did I say before? Scorpio, I need to just write this down. So I keep referring back to it because Scorpio is the gate of the gods. It's the golden gate. The Sun in Scorpio. And that was what I saw in the beginning. It was the Enlightenment, the Sun card. What's happening in the 3D? You're being enlightened. 7 swans are swimming. Maybe the 7 swans are singing. Maybe the 7 swans metaphorically were swimming in the wrong direction. Because if I look at that 84-year cycle, it's a cycle of where Saturn returns. So these two, it's the balance of good and evil. It's that bigger spiritual message of, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, the sacrifice that was made. But there needs to be balance, a balance between your divine feminine and your divine masculine energy. Otherwise, if you've got a leader of the pack, right, if you've got 7 swans swimming or 7 swans flying and one is going the wrong way, then it pulls everybody that way. I've just had a bird arrive in the tree in front. I don't know what it is. I know what's going on. There's a bird in the tree in front, and there's a spider on a web that goes between the tree and my veranda, and it's come in to pick the spider. The spider is almost like, when you see those 2 cliffs and you've got like the tightrope across, and the spider is in the middle. There's a journey that you're taking that's precarious. The 6 of Cups. Because in that stuff that I was reading about the swans, if any swans were found, they were automatically assumed to be owned by the king, and they were automatically taken back to the palace. So if a swan escaped, it was automatically taken back to the palace. Interesting. The 6 of Cups. 10 of Swords on the bottom. No escape. Yeah, look at that. No escape. 7 of Swords. This guy sneaks away in the middle of the night. 8 of Wands. There's no escape. Wow. Let's pop those there. Mercury in Sagittarius, and that is the moon in Aquarius. What's the message from the man upstairs? Divine. Look, it's bent. That's the 8 of Swords. That's currently a placement at the moment. That is Gemini. Jupiter in Gemini. And in June this year, Jupiter goes into Cancer. Cancer is the Chariot card, which is a 7. So then look at that. So Jupiter is 777. It's the Wheel of Fortune. Jupiter is, it's the Wheel of Fortune. Jupiter is 777. It's luck. Scotland, 7 swans are considered good luck for 7 years. So we go from the 8 of Swords, being tied up, not being able to, being kept by a king, not being able to leave. And maybe metaphorically you're held somewhere. And even though somebody is physically holding you somewhere, it's actually, it's part of divine intervention on behalf of the divine to hold you in a space whilst you learn the karmic lessons that you're meant to learn whilst you are there. That you learn the lessons that are part of your soul journey. Prophecy, service, teaching, encouraging, giving, leadership, and compassion. I'm trying to tell you something about my life. Maybe give me insight between black and white. And there we go. We've got the black and white. So we've got 7 swans, and they are white swans. And then you've got black, the black swan. I'm trying to tell you something about my life. Maybe give me insight between black and white. And the best thing you've ever done for me is to help me take my life less seriously. It's only life after all. Well, the darkness has a hunger that's insatiable, and the lightness has a call that's hard to hear. And I wrap my fear around me like a blanket, and I sailed my ship until I sank it. The swan sings better when it's nearing death. Swan song. Isn't a swan song like the last hurrah? But yeah, in June, and that aligns with that 4 sevens. Which is that colour purple. In June, Jupiter, 777, goes into Cancer. Then we've got that 4 7, 4 sevens. 747, a journey. 747 is a plane. Okay, let's have a look at the outcome of this situation. Oh, yeah. Hang on a minute. I've got cards flipping. It's because I'm not thinking. The outcome of this situation, and it was meant to come out the Queen of Swords. That's Uranus in Aquarius. That's the truth. Uranus is the Fool card. It's somebody speaking their truth about an ending and a beginning, about leaving the gate of man. Taurus, Taurus is something that you are physically bound to. The Taurus is the earth. It's the Hierophant card. It's the Hierophant card. And we've got it here. And the Hierophant is the things that you are bound to. Now, I would say to you, in that first 28 years, when you hit your Saturn return, it's a period of 4 lots of 7 years where you're born into a family, born into a country, born into a religion, born into all the sets of things that are part of your ancestral karma, good or bad. And by the time you hit your Saturn return, you are starting to look back on Jacob's trouble, 77 years. You are starting to wrestle with the spiritual nature of where you are and whether you want to stay there. And you're not thinking about where do I want to be for the next 28 years. It's just part of the journey that your soul is on. Where do I want to be for the next 7 years? Do I want to be stuck in the king's palace, waiting to be roasted on the flame for somebody to eat? The Queen of Swords is Uranus in Aquarius. Aquarius, we're in the Pluto and Aquarius transit at the moment. Aquarius is revolutionary change. It's the wheel of fortune. It's turning your wheel to a point where you are now. 7 swans are singing. 7 swans are singing. 7 swans are swimming. Again, I'm not thinking as I'm doing this reading. Things are just coming out of my mouth. Changing course. Spiritual enlightenment that helps you change course. Uranus. Scorpio. Leaving the material and moving to the Golden Gate. The Golden Gate is a spiritual gateway. And what have we got on the bottom? The Tower. That was the card that I was seeing, the Tower. You're tearing things down. This is God in this card. You've wrestled with God. God is your spiritual essence. You've wrestled with the divine, and now you're making changes, which is that song, Changes, by Black Sabbath. That's Ozzy Osbourne. Okay, let's get some cards. Yeah, new beginning. What I said before, Phoenix rising from the ashes, that's the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands, look at that. An ending, that's completion, karmic completion. Tens, that's it. It's the finish of something. This is what's in the current energy at the moment. The finish of something and the start of something new, because you've had a spiritual truth and spiritual enlightenment, and you've burnt that, I want to say burnt that shit down. You're like, no more. 8 of Pentacles, which is the Sun in Virgo. No more. Okay, what's happening in the 3D? We just have the Knight of Wands there, which is basically charging forward. Now you've got the Queen of Pentacles, which was in reverse. It's now upright. Single, independent, free is the Queen of Pentacles. Uranus in Virgo, making a stand, making a play, building your own life now based on the spiritual lessons that you've learned. In and around whatever energy this is. Your reading is beautiful. We've got the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Pentacles, the Hierophant, the Ace of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, the Tower and the Devil. And look at that, the Lovers on the bottom. The Lovers card used to be called the Choice card. Spiritual enlightenment brings new beginnings. This is what this reading is saying. 7 swans are swimming. Swans symbolize wisdom. 4 of Pentacles, which is the Sun in Capricorn. It's a release. And the World on the bottom, a new beginning. The World is Saturn. Let's see what else. Yeah, you're being guided. That's the 6 of Swords. That's a card of divine guidance. That's the divine basically saying, hey, little swan, don't swim down that way. You need to be going this way. And you're like, no, I'm going the right way. And, you know, through the lessons that you've learned, you realize that this is the better option. 6 of Swords, the 8 of Swords. This is the message from the man upstairs. The King of Wands. That's a little whispers in your ear. The King of Wands is the Sun in Aries. Which, look at this, you're in balance. The Sun in Aries and the Moon in Leo. Something that was hidden from you is now being brought to the surface, allowed you to get in balance, which is what actually releases you from this prison, and it's wisdom. Okay, the Queen of Swords. Whoa, this is a new journey. The King of Wands actually aligns with the 3 of Wands, which is stepping out on a new journey. The 3 of Wands comes into the 4 of Wands. Once you're on that journey, the celebration of that, realizing that you are now on the right path, you are now on your destined path, and that you can have this new beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the Wheel of Fortune. You can change your own fortune. The 5 of Cups, and walk away from what isn't serving you. Why? Because you've had spiritual enlightenment. That's the Hermit card. You are now the Magician. You've seen through the illusion. Okay, let's get obstacles are lessons in disguise and divine intervention. Let's see what else we get. Mastery. You are the master. That's the Magician card. That the deck split on. Anything else? And legacy. Your spiritual legacy. One more. Spying energy. And frustration. You've been putting in the work. And maybe somebody who's watching you hasn't been. And they're actually, I want to say the word jealous. Higher self on the bottom. They're actually jealous of how far you've gone. How much wisdom you've gained. How much enlightenment you've gained. Let's have a look at a moon. Full moon in Aries. It's time to juggle spirituality and practicality like a cosmic circus act. And balsamic moon, the healing hour. You're on a journey. A beautiful, beautiful spiritual journey that's going to put you into alignment with a beautiful new phase of your life. Let's have a look. The nodes of destiny. South node in Aquarius. When the South node hangs out in Aquarius, it's like a blast from the past where you rock those Aquarius vibes in your previous lives or even earlier in this one. These traits are like a cozy blanket for the soul, but be careful not to overdo it. Letting go of them is a key to leveling up your spiritual game. So this is what this is saying. Aquarius is about the people. So maybe 7 swans are swimming. Maybe you were part of a family group, a work group, a friendship group where everybody was kind of going in the one direction and you just decided, you know what, I actually want to swim the other way. and you were kind of being pulled. It was easier to go with the flow, to swim with everybody else. This is about Aquarius. And so the South Node is what you are releasing. Aquarius is for the people. But when this card comes out, it's talking about this part of the journey, this bit that you've got yourself on where God is now moving you, is about spiritual enlightenment, and it's about going on an individual journey. The Hermit card is about a soul journey, and that's something that you can only do on your own. Do I want to get a song? I'm going to get a song. Now, these are love songs, but let's just see what comes out. Grenade. You're blowing it up. I would go through all of this pain, take a bullet straight through my brain. Yeah, I would die for you, baby, but would you do the same? Maybe you've realized that the people around you, if you were staying within a dynamic because you were trying to be reliable and loyal, maybe you've realized that they wouldn't do the same. I would die for you, but would you do the same? Perhaps that's what sent you this Tower, this spiritual enlightenment cardigan. But I knew you dancing in your Levi's, drunk under the streetlight. I knew you, hand under my sweatshirt, baby, kiss it better. And when I felt like I was an old cardigan under somebody's bed, under someone's bed, you put me on and said I was your favorite. What that's giving me is potentially you've been a security blanket, spying energy, frustration, somebody watching you walk away because you've mastered your soul. We have the 6 of Cups under here, which is nostalgia, which is somebody from your past trying to keep you where you are because it's familiar. You put me on and said I was your favorite. Interesting, right? Okay, let's get you some Scrabble tiles. Letters and numbers in here. Could be your first, middle, last initial, or something else that pertains to this journey. She used to be mine. Oh, actually, you know what? That's beautiful. She's imperfect, but she tries. She's good, but she lies. She's hard on herself. She is broken and won't ask for help. She's messy, but she's kind. She's lonely most of the time. She's all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She's gone, but she used to be mine. She's singing about her 13-year-old self. The soul journey. First 7 years, and then the second 7 years of that 4x7 soul journey through the Saturn cycle would be 14. This has something to do with connecting back to some sort of childhood wounding. Okay, letters and numbers in here are part of the karmic lessons that you were meant to learn so that you could have this rebirth. And it has to do with Saturn in your chart. It does make a little bit of noise. I'm skipping between one thing and another. My thoughts are just ding, ding, ding. Saturn in your chart. Again, I've done it again. It's relevant. It has something to do with where Saturn lies in your chart because Saturn is your karmic teacher. And my Saturn is in Leo. To give you an example, my Saturn is in Leo. Leo is a leader, but I've got lots of... I had to learn the karmic lessons through the first 50 years of my life, and now I'm stepping into, and it's only happened in the last couple of years, now I'm stepping into a role of being a leader on a spiritual journey. Whatever karmic lessons you've learnt, it's when the student becomes the teacher. Whatever karmic lessons you've learnt are part of what you're meant to be doing, part of this new beginning. Right, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to shake it. It does make a little bit of noise. If you have hearing sensitivity, please turn your volume down. I'm going to shake it in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we have a H and a 4, a W and a 4, a Y, highway. Life is a highway. He went through a spiritual lesson, didn't he? The little car from Cars. What was his name? Lightning McQueen. Ka-chow. Okay, an L and a 1, an N, lightning, an N and a 1, an F, a lightning bolt. That's the original drawing on the Tower card. It's a big lightning bolt. Illumination, lightning, an F and a 4, a G and a 2, a D and a 2, a V and a 4, a P and a 3, a Q and a 10, a U and a 1, a J and an 8, a B and a 3, an S and a 1, and an M and a 3. What was her name? The little Porsche. I can't remember. Okay, let's get 3 final cards for you. Do I want to use that deck yet? Let's use that deck. 3 final cards. Anything else your guides want to tell you about this King of Swords? It came out in reverse. The King of Swords is Uranus in Libra. There's a balance. This is a truth. Okay. So we've got the King of Swords, the 4 of Wands, the King of Pentacles, and the 2 of Cups. And the 9 of Cups on the bottom, which is Jupiter in Pisces, a spiritual journey that you're on. The King of Swords is Uranus in Libra, Venus in Aries, Jupiter in Taurus, and Venus in Cancer. And Jupiter in Taurus, because Jupiter is the gate of man. It's the unearthing of a spiritual truth that takes you through the gate of man, through alignment. The 2 of Cups is a soul contract with God, through the golden gate of alignment, which brings in 9 of Cups, Jupiter in Pisces, a spiritual awakening. The symbol of Pisces is 2 fish. You've balanced the 2 fish. Jupiter, 777, you've balanced the 2 fish. Wow, that's really beautiful. Really, really, really beautiful. That's where I'm going to leave this reading. I apologize if we went this way and that way and that way. But that's just what happens. When I channel as I am doing the reading, if this reading resonated for you, give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. All of the songs, all of the movies, anything that I mentioned, where there's some sort of clickable link to it, I will put in the description box. If you want to go further down that rabbit hole, if you are called intuitively to something that I was talking about, then those links will be there for you. If you're called to any of my tarot or oracle decks, the links to those can be found in the description box. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in another reading.